Hello, everyone. Today, our group will be presenting a strategic commodity analysis for Dr. Oetker, Canada, focusing on one of its most important raw materials, wheat flour. My name is Sheikh Shahil Sharif, and I'll be presenting alongside Elizabeth, Imad, and Najimuddin. During this presentation, we'll discuss why wheat flour is strategically important, the different wheat flour varieties, specification, quality control processes, supply management strategies, current market conditions, pricing trends, procurement risks, and our recommendations for maintaining a resilient supply chain. Discussing wheat flour, it's important to understand the company. Dr. Oetker was founded in Germany in 1891 and has grown into a global food manufacturer operating in more than 40 countries. In Canada, the company has a manufacturing facility in London, Ontario, where it produces products such as frozen pizza, baking ingredients, cake mixes, desserts, and cereals. The company is well known for its commitment to quality, food safety, innovation, and sourcing reliable raw materials. Among all these ingredients, wheat flour is one of the most critical commodities because it is used extensively in frozen pizzas and baking products. Flour provides the structure of the dough and directly influences texture, consistency, baking performance, and ultimately product quality. Since Dr. Oetker purchases flour in very large volumes, even small changes in quality or price can significantly impact production costs and customer satisfaction. That's why wheat flour was selected as the focus of our commodity analysis. Now let's look at the different types of wheat flour and how they are classified. Wheat flour is available in several varieties, each designed for different food applications. For example, bread flour has higher protein content and that creates stronger gluten, while cake flour has lower protein, producing a softer, lighter texture. All-purpose flour offers versatility and is commonly used across many products. Flour is also classified into different grades based on its quality, unintended retail use, and industrial use. These grades help manufacturers maintain consistent performance during production. Packaging depends on the customer and production requirements. Retail consumers usually purchase flour in 2 to 10 pound bags. Commercial bakeries typically receive 25 to 50 pound polywoven or multi-wall stacks, while food manufacturers like Dr. Oetker mainly use bulk industrial packaging exceeding 1,000 pounds. Selecting the correct flour type, grade, and packaging ensures efficient handling, consistent product quality, and reliable manufacturing operations.
Talking about the different flour varieties, there are different kinds of types of flour based on the protein content, and this also determines the texture of the flour. There's all-purpose with a protein content of 10 to 12%. There's a bread flour which is used for yeast and for pizza with a protein content of 12 to 14 is usually very chewy. There's the whole wheat flour between which has a protein content of 13 to 14%, and it's nutty and dense. There's a pastry flour with a protein content of 8 to 9, and there's a cake flour with a protein content of 7 to 8. So there are different kinds of flour used for varieties of pastries. Flowers also come in different grades. There are some from the UK, there's some from Germany, there's some from France, Italy, USA, and so on. The common ones around Canada are USA, Italy, France. Um, and I'll just focus on the Italy. The one with the 00 towards the end is tends to be the one that bakers use more for making pizza because it's a very fine flour and makes the process of making pizza really easy. The different packages in which flour come are the retail bags, the polywoven or multi-wall bags, and the bulk industrial bag, which I believe is purchased by Dr. Oetker Industry. Now onto the specification for wheat flour. The quality of the flour can be determined by parameters such as protein, the moisture content, the ash content, the falling number, farinogram, or granularity. For instance, for protein content, it determines how elastic or tender texture the pastry will be, and that should not be greater than 14%. The moisture content determines the shelf life and prevents microbial growth and clumping during storage. That should be below 15%. The ash content defines how refined the flour is. That should be less than 0.4%. And the falling number measures the enzyme activity. The farinogram determines the capacity of the flour to absorb water, and the granularity determines the percentage that passes through 200 micron sieve.
Thank you, Elizabeth. My name is Imad Chinuda, and I will continue. Moving to our supply chain strategy.
Hi, my name is Abdullah, and I'll be taking the supply and demand for the global and domestic landscape for Dr. Oetker. Dr. Oetker is a 4.3 billion multinational organization who supply most of the flour and wheat needs in North America. They source the wheat directly from Ontario and Alberta to support the Canadian manufacturing facilities. And the global flour market is projected to reach 194.38 billion in 2026 alone, growing at a 4.2% GAGR, with Asia Pacific holding 51% of the market share. Domestically, Canada provides 55% of the US flour imports. Proximity to the Canadian wheat belt gives them a strong regional advantage by shortening lead times and lowering tariff exposures. Thank you. Continuing from the domestic and global landscape and looking at the price trend, US farm levels wheat price are forecast to rise 11.8% in 2026, with potential swing up to 25.1%. Additionally, the US producer price index rose 4% year-on-year in March 2026, directly impacting milling operations. Key cost drivers include fluctuating feed stocks is one of them, which led to global inventories, ongoing global political conflict in Ukraine, and energy price volatility in milling, transportation bottlenecks, and unpredictable US tariffs, climate risk across the Canadian Pacific and Black Sea, and currency depreciation in the Canadian dollar and Mexican peso further put pressure on delivery costs as well. These factors mentioned are one of the factors responsible for the price fluctuation and increase of the cost around the North America as a whole. I will be handling this presentation with the risk and procurement strategies. The organization faces critical categories of to flour procurement, and the first two is supply disruption and price volatility. Weather or and conflict-driven crop losses causes production delays, and this compresses profit margins. Quality vulnerability. Annual crop changes affect protein and falling numbers, impacting the end product texture like pizza cut rises. The next one is the cross-border exposure, which is part of the currency fluctuations, elevated fuel and milling energy costs, and shifting tariff policies, increased landed ingredient cost, and disrupts the North American trade flow. Addressing this requires a proactive procurement model, which is why we have come up with the recommendations for the organization. We recommend five core strategies: diversifying their source, and using dual source model with Canadian and US suppliers will help mitigate against risk, and using pairing contracts with qualified US and EU suppliers as well. Future hedging using CME with future which have a 0.763 price correlation with domestic flowers to lock in quality volume as well. And contracting and inventory, like negotiating 6 to 12 month fixed price contract with mills would also help to mitigate against risk. Safety log as well. Is to maintain 4 to 6 weeks of safety log for critical flower grades. Strict quality assurance, to ensure that they enforce product specific specs requiring 12 to 14% protein for pizza crust and 7 to 10% for cake mix baked by certificate of analysis. And lastly is the sustainability. They should partner with farmers on regenerative agriculture and co-invest in building partner capacity to guarantee priority allocation. Thank you very much.